It's Cigar Saturday on BourbonBlog.com. I'm Tom Fischer. Over to my far right is Matty Rock, and it's our honor to welcome to the show tonight Pitmaster, barbecue champ extraordinaire from Handsome Devil BBQ in Newburgh, New York. It's the one and only Ed Randolph. How's it going, Ed?
Good, fellas. Cheers, man. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Yes, cheers.
Good to see you, my brother. Much love, my man.
Same here, man. I appreciate it.
I see, Matty, your backdrop is a little different than usual. Where did you find yourself tonight?
So we're at Sanj's, but we're in the back part of the squad today. So out here now, there's enough lights that everybody can see. You'll get literally the quick 360.
All right.
So got the heat lamp set up out here. You have the large canopy. I don't know how good my 360 is because I'm spinning on a tripod over here. Then you have the other section out there in the back, which is another outdoor section. So. Like I said, with COVID finally beginning to ease and the ability to throw more events, you now have an extra, occupancy out here for an extra 300 people. So it's pretty cool. So you got 150 to 2 up front. As we mentioned last time, Sanj just got the go ahead to do the upstairs. So literally, this place is going to be jamming, man. So both of you gentlemen will be here. We'll be throwing barbecue and bourbon and smoky smoke parties for sure with occupancy at 700 people. So. I'm looking forward to it. I definitely see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I love it. And Ed, you have a lot coming up, and I can't wait to do that there at Sanj's. It's such a great backdrop you have there, Matt. What's happening your way, Ed? Obviously, we're big fans of what you do in the barbecue world. You have some exciting things coming up.
Yeah, appreciate it. Next week, we're actually heading out to Memphis. Going to do Memphis in May this year. Cooking with my buddy Carey Bringle, part of the Pegl Porker team. My wife, Noelle, she's actually a pitmaster on another team with actually Carey's wife. So it's kind of the men versus the women this year. So it'll be a good time.
You got to call it the battle of the couch, right? Somebody who the losers get in the couch. There's no
doubt. Yeah, I think by default I get the couch.
It's a lose-lose situation. Oh.
Yeah.
This is I presume Memphis in May didn't happen last year, right?
No, it was shut down last year. And Memphis in May is, if you're familiar with the event, it's actually got a whole month-long event where the first 2 weeks are a music festival, and then the barbecue guys come on in and kind of close the show out. And last year everything got canceled. At first got postponed back to October, and then they just kind of put a kibosh to it. So this year they did away with the music festival, but they're bringing the barbecue festival back, man. And anything with barbecue, we're all family, we're all love. So for me, it's been over a year since I've been able to see a lot of my barbecue brethren, and I just can't wait to be on the side of the river, of the Mississippi River, give everybody a big hug and drink some bourbon.
Nice. No, as I was mentioning to you before we started, I'm quite familiar with Carey Bringle and the gang, and I hope he'll be bringing us some of his peg leg porker bourbon too. I hope he'll bring one.
I'm doing a little sipping tonight of the 15 year right now on us.
Look at that.
Got to support my boys. So
right now, Carey's doing the Superman beam, looking off to the left, right?
Yeah, he's giving that old limping eight easy pose.
Yes.
Well, I am indeed. Hopefully, Carey's watching. He said he was going to. I am out of the peg leg porker bourbon, so. Carey, we got to make sure we get some. I'm a big fan of what he does. I was the first person to review it, and that 15's amazing.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And I went down there a couple of weeks ago, I think with my daughters for spring break, and they wanted to visit Nashville, and we ran into Carey, and he was gracious enough to give me a bottle right off the shelf. So the guy's got a big heart, and he's been a great resource for me, and even starting up a business is really a role model of what to do and the right way to do things.
Yeah, without a doubt. No, it's amazing. And again, Ed Randolph, are you actually are you there at the restaurant tonight, or where are you?
Nah, right now you're right in the middle of my little sipping lounge right here in my study, in my office, in my house. So the restaurant is cranking tonight, and it was way too loud. I was like, you know what, you guys might not hear me. And we do some sipping there, and people get a little rowdy. So I'd want them all to take over the show.
So we got to figure out our cigar night so we can make it rowdy-er.
That'd be great, man. We got the whole patio outside, a good 30 by 40 space for us. We can do a little cigar barbecue out on the patio.
So we know what we got to do in the next 60 days, make it a little bit more raucous.
I have no problem with that. Do a little reason, right?
Yes.
God bless. Bring that.
For you, Carl, baby.
Yeah.
Yes. And so what we're looking at that Carey Bringle peg leg porker bourbon in your hand there. But what else do you like to pair with the barbecue? I see a lot of bottles there behind you. What do you like?
Yeah, a lot of bottles. Usually when I'm at the restaurant, I'm just doing some easy sipping and talking to guests and doing some cooking. I usually go something along the Michter's family line. Everything there usually blends pretty nice and easy. I am a big fan. Recently, I've been getting on a kick of the Kentucky Owl. I think the pour number, what is that? Number 4. I think they're the one that just came out is really good. Blade and Bow, I've been enjoying as well. It's some nice stuff that you can, if I want to have some fun and mix it with something, I'll look for something that's up there in the 120 proof. Otherwise it's just pour it in a glass and let's have a neat little drink.
I've done several of these barbecue and bourbon whiskey pairing events in the past, and I love doing them. But the truth is, if it's something really good, both ways, good barbecue bourbon, just those southern notes, just those delicious caramel flavors.
Yep.
The barrel, it all tends to work pretty. I mean, you can find some that are better, but they really do work well together.
It's amazing, and Matty and I even talked about this when we met the other day. Is really, I'm surprised we haven't thought about it sooner. How much everything pairs so well together between cigars, bourbon, and barbecue. It's really a harmonious three, and also almost the process for all three from creation to finished product is similar, just with a different type of product. So, it's everything taken slow and low, taking your time, doing it right, and really paying respect to the craft.
It's all artisan stuff, and we joke around. The longer that that your stuff is sitting smoking away. I mean, this is hardcore artisan stuff, and that goes for obviously the bourbons, the whiskeys, cigars, and barbecue. The more time that you have vested in your overall product, the more love you put in, right?
Absolutely.
So, and it's funny how all three of them pair together, because you could probably ask just about anybody what three things paired together better than that. And there's not too many things, man.
No.
So you put those things together, and like I said, the amount of different pairings you could have, depending on what the Pitmaster is doing, and that'll depend on what you're smoking. That'll depend on what you're drinking, and like I said, it's great. And then you'll come up with all these different marriages of things that you probably wouldn't have thought about doing before. Like Tom, you and I talked about, if you're doing Kentucky Fire sticks with that Kentucky Fire tobacco to really bring out that hickory and bourbon. So obviously, if you're having a really peaty drink, it's going to really knock it out even more, right? And as opposed to just having something like a bullet with it.
Yes, yeah, without a doubt, and it's actually a couple of years ago. I'll have to bring up the link and put it up there for everybody. You can find it on BourbonBlog, but I spoke at the it's been so many years, the Beer, Bourbon, and Barbecue Festival. I know they still take those around the country, but I created, with some help, the world's first cocktail that had all three in it: beer, bourbon, and barbecue. So I wouldn't exactly say it's an everyday sipper, but we were able to infuse beer, bourbon, and barbecue in one cocktail. I kind of feel like it's been done before after enough drinks. I just put it up online and actually put proportions to it.
We also heard after enough drinks that you also thought you were Batman, but we'll leave that for another episode.
Yeah. Well, there's the Batman cocktail is now. Tell us, Ed, when it comes to how you like to do your barbecue, what are you famous for there at Handsome Devil, and does whiskey or other spirits ever make it into your sauce, any of your recipes?
Well, first I'll see with the sauce. Yeah, actually, last year we do. You mentioned the Beer, Bourbon, Barbecue festivals. We know the owner of that Greg Nevins, Drink Eat Relax, I think is his deal. We do all of his events, as many as we can for him, from Tampa to Maryland to New York. And he had one year. The folks from Jim Beam came out with red. Was it with the Red Stag? It kind of has like a cherry taste to it, I think. And they asked somebody if they could put together a barbecue sauce for it. So we ended up putting together a great sauce for them that they took, and they actually started running it the whole season. I think it had to be 2 years ago, because we didn't do anything last year. And we just started the wholesale sauce to them and using their product in it. So it was pretty cool. But at the restaurant, I try to tell everybody we're a Central Texas barbecue joint based in New York. So our brisket will run with a lot of people. So I'm very confident and very proud of our brisket. We do everything the right way, learn from some of the best. My man, Texarkana Barbecue, Chef Max, taught me a lot. Really taught me how to understand fire, read fire, and cook. So I'm a bit of a barbecue cook and a bit of an arsonist, I guess you'd say. And then we just do simple salt, pepper rub on that. Our ribs, I think, are really well. We do compete as well. So we have 6 state championships. That includes our brisket and ribs. Usually always score pretty well for us. So my sleeper, though, on the menu has been turkey, because we've been pounding out so much brisket every day that there's nothing left for me to eat. So I've been eating the turkey, man, and it is top dollar.
Yeah, that's always tasty. I love the standard and just barbecue sauces, but I love those white sauces too, whether it's chicken or turkey or just taking some potato chips and dipping it. White sauces, I just love them.
It's unbelievable, and really up here in New York, people are not kind of privy to it or understand what it is. So when we serve it with our chicken and our turkey, we always have to explain to everybody what it is, because they're like, what is this stuff? And then all of a sudden they try it, and then it's a dipping sauce for everything. It's like, can I get that to go? Can I get that to go? And happy to say that we had the folks at the Shed barbecue down in Mississippi. They opened up a saucery, and they're starting to make our sauce for us. So hopefully with another week or two, we got some bottles to put on the shelves.
How awesome is that? And it's so true that you're able to get this. You're able to get, I would say, only the last maybe 5 or 6 years, Ed will probably agree, maybe a little bit longer, have you been finally getting people like Ed who can bring that flavor where you had to literally be on the road. And Tom, we talked about this, God knows how many episodes back, and more than a few times. New Jersey and barbecue and New York and barbecue were never synonymous with each other. Somebody would come up to me and go, hey, Matt, I have the best barbecue place forever. Not to knock him, but Virgil's in New York is for tourists. Is it going to kill you? Absolutely not. Is that true Texas barbecue? Of course not. And, that was what people would enjoy when you came out here to New Jersey or New York. And, you just kind of shrug, and people look at me like, Matty, it's your favorite, right? I'm like, let's talk about something else. Let's go to the hot dog cart. Yeah. But when you have guys that masters of their trade, like Ed, and, can go out there and just think about it. New York, New Jersey guys winning CHOP for barbecue. You got a tiny little state like New Jersey, and then you have next door, you have New York, which in between like New York and some of the other towns, there's a lot of free space. These guys are mastering that trade, something that you usually have to go to the Carolinas or Texas or out to Tennessee to get. And I mean, of course, I'm happy. We all know that I'm the Husky Aquaman, so I can get this kind of food here. I can't tell you how happy I am, and this will make Ed happy. So Ed made me a little goodie bag, and by little, it was probably like 5 pounds of stuff, and it may have lasted between 40 to 43 minutes. I just dedicated it. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror for like 2 days. Like, I didn't care though. It was
I made sure you were giving me some good sticks. That if we were at the bench that day, I was gonna make sure I kept you fed. So if anything, I could get away fast without you realizing I left.
Oh yeah. All you had to do is dangle some of the brisket. It worked.
No, but I appreciate it.
I was talking to dead air probably for an hour. I'm like, is he gone? You're like, yeah, I'm already home. Thanks.
Meanwhile, I'm looking at the box. I'm like, ooh, I got undercrowns. Ooh, these are nice. I can't wait. I'm going home. All right, Matty's not looking. I'm out of here. Does he realize what he gave me?
And before you leave for your next trip, we'll make sure we meet up here. We'll do some reminiscing and knock out some more sticks.
Absolutely, that'd be great. But I appreciate what you said. You know what? It's a lot of guys like myself. We've got some friends. We have Dan at Red, White, and Q in New Jersey. I know you visit, and also Rob at Kimchi Smoke. We all take pride in our work, and it's really. I think the world is starting to realize that barbecue is just not a Southern cuisine. It could be global. And the thing is to make it global, you need to use what's kind of around you and local to you, and make sure my flavor profile. Yes, my brisket's Texas. I'll tell you, it's salt, pepper, rub, nothing on it. I cook over oak. It's not white post oak that they use in Texas. I'm not going to ship that up here. I got a lot of black oak. I got a lot of red oak. I'm just using what's local to me, because it'd be foolish to try to truck in firewood. But my ribs are more of a local Northeast flavor profile. They're sauced up. I got some paprika in my rub. You go to Texas, everything is salt and pepper. They throw salt and pepper on the cat. Who knows? But everybody gets it. So, but it's important to try to influence your local community's flavor profile as well.
When it comes to regions, I mean, obviously everyone has their own spin no matter where you go. But when you actually break down regions of the U.S., how many do you really think about when it comes to how barbecue is done?
I can tell you on the competition side, there are probably 14 to 15. My region can change just from Connecticut to Vermont's a region for me. Then I've got New York, New Jersey, Delaware. I mean, then Maryland. Once you get to Maryland South, you better start having some hot sauce. Kicking things up a little bit. Where it's almost the more north you go, the sweeter profile it gets. And then it's you start to head out west. It's a whole different ball game as well.
Are there new regions or are new definitions that you see popping up, like areas that have really taken it the last 10, 20 years run with it? I mean, what would be one of the newer regions that's really owned it?
A new region you're looking at right now is our Northeast, and it's so complex to see. I mean, we mentioned Rob at Kimchi Smoke. I mean, he puts kimchi on the stuff. He makes a brisket on a donut. You also have
the chonut, baby. We talked about that show, Tom.
But you have Billy.
What's more local than that, right?
Yeah. I mean, you've got Billy Durney down in Brooklyn who's down in the Red Hook region, who has Korean sticky ribs, you know, and they're there. He's got a lamb banh mi, and it's to try to influence and pay respect to his local community as well. So it's you find everybody kind of using it, and it's to me, I embrace it. I think it's great because it shows you that it's no longer just, you know, somebody sitting over top of a fire doing the same three things. You can actually influence and introduce some new flavors.
Delicious stuff. I see we have at least another barbecue pitmaster friend watching us right now. Craig Kimmel is watching us there from Firehouse, and it says he's enjoying some Undercrown and some Makers right now.
Yeah, baby.
Craig's a good guy, man. I met Craig a few times out there. He's really, I mean, this whole barbecue world is family. So anytime you're going to pop up a name on there, it's a very hard time for me not to say our paths haven't crossed somewhere.
It really is. As I mentioned, I've enjoyed getting to know a lot of y'all from the Kentucky State Barbecue Festival in Danville, Kentucky, and just seeing some of these barbecue friends across the country as I've been on my whiskey tour, my educational tour. You're an amazing family and just great people, and the delicious treats you make just make us so happy because we need those after enough whiskey. Yeah,
well, and I also like to tell people, it's how often do you see the sushi guys getting together and hanging out? You know, the pizza guys aren't getting together and having the barbecue is, because we're all family, and there's you can ask any of us. I mean, I can ask Craig if I need help on something. He's right there for me. You know, if I have a problem with a recipe or something, we don't look at each other's competition because we all want to succeed.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that, obviously, so many great people and so many different types of cuisine, why does barbecue have more of a family uniting appeal? What do you think?
I think a lot of it is tradition. A lot of us have grown up with barbecues. I mean, I don't know the percentage, but I'm going to say probably 95 to 97% of us have had a barbecue in our house sometime in our life, right? I mean, everybody's got a grill, got something, those family parties, get-togethers, and they all just kind of breed community, and they make you think that this is family. So when it comes to the end of the day, for example, I had an employee start, and he worked at a competitor barbecue joint. Comes on in, does all his paperwork, walking around. He's like, "Don't I have to sign an NDA?" And I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "All the recipes and everything." He goes, "My last place, they made me sign an NDA." I was like, "Here's my recipes. You take them. If you want to go do something with it and make $1 million, go make $1 million." I was like, "I have a cookbook out that has our mac and cheese recipe, the same one we're serving in the restaurant." Wow. In fact, at the end of the day, it's up to somebody. If they can out hustle me, then they'll get the business. But I won't let that happen.
So you actually share a lot of your recipes. You tell people how it's done.
Well, I'll give it to you recipes. We're going to start doing a little barbecue class at our place, so people can do an overnight cook with us. Because in our area in the Northeast, it's really I don't say people don't understand the barbecue, but I'll get customers that come in now that claim they're a barbecue expert and tell me everything I'm doing wrong, or say that I'm cooking stuff in the oven using liquid smoke and all that, and I'm like, only thing I have here is a flame and some oak wood. That's all we're using, and it's salt and pepper. And so I would really like to educate people and understand what real traditional barbecue is.
So a lot of these, how can they find your book? That's amazing. What's the book? Where can we find it?
I've actually, shamelessly going to say I've got 2 of them out now. They're on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, even our website, handsomedevillllc.com, if you want them signed, and I'll dirty them up for you and probably have a brisket grease somewhere on the page when I'm signing it. But we have one that I did. The first book we did was called Smoked, and that was actually a barbecue road trip I did that I visited 50 different pitmasters all around the U.S., most of them in the Northeast. And we all tell everybody's story because we all have a story to tell. Because you've got somebody like Carey, who's got traditions of doing barbecue in his family. You've got Billy Durney in New York City, who was a security guard for the Olsen twins, I believe it was at some point. You've got Burt Bachman, who is running out in Los Angeles, and he's a real estate guru who loves to do barbecue. And we all tell each other's story, and everybody gives a recipe. So it's a part cookbook, part storybook. Then the second one I did was for the folks at Traeger. So we did show-stopping recipes on your Traeger grill. Happy to say that one has been out less than a year, and we just surpassed 25,000 copies this past week. So that was pretty awesome.
Congratulations on that. And if you want to find those books or just learn more about what Pitmaster Ed Randolph does, there it is, handsomedevillllc.com. Do they need to request barbecue sauce like on it as you sign it, or does it just naturally happen?
I usually put a disclaimer on there that's going to be accident. There's going to be a sauce, or it might smell like brisket. It might be a little smudge of some salt and pepper somewhere on there, because 9 times out of 10 I'm catching up on all the web orders and all that while I'm working the pits at night.
Because usually books just have, it only impacts one sense. It's we can see it, but emotionally we feel it, right? We read it. But your books actually just go right to the olfactory, don't they? I mean, you're bringing it with your books.
Try to
sign them. I love it. I love it.
So speaking of handsome devils, look who.
Okay, what handsome devils do you have? What's happening, Sanj? Nice to see you.
How you doing?
Yes.
Good. What's happening there, Sanj? How you doing?
Good, man. Just busy. Finally got all my permits to do the lounge upstairs, so we're ripping out 2 apartments. Gonna make a bigger lounge upstairs, and that's that.
Sanj, how do you like? Do you have any favorite barbecued veggies when it comes to barbecue? How do you take yours?
I eat anything vegetarian. Mac and cheese is my favorite. Mac and cheese is my son's favorite, and that's it. You put any kind of vegetable on the grill, I eat it.
We got a nice smoked cauliflower for you. We could do for you.
That's it. I love it.
Put a little Thai chili sauce on top of it.
Oh my God!
I'm in.
What? Now, how do you what? So you just do a little Thai flavor on the cauliflower?
Yeah, we actually use one of our rubs, and we add a little bit more ancho chili and a little Thai chilies to it, and then we put it in a smoker, usually anywhere between 30 to 35 minutes at 275 degrees. Then when it's getting nice and soft, we take it out and add a nice little Thai chili sauce right on top of it.
Love it. I want to try that. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, me too.
Well, soon.
So really
good. So Ed will be down here. He's leaving in 2 weeks, so we'll have some smokes and we'll come see you, Mr. Sanj.
Good. That's good. Do you find, and just, because I think that's interesting, given the region you're in and just different regions for barbecue, do you find that people that come in that might not, go for the pork or the chicken, that might be vegetarian, do you find that more barbecue joints are catering or finding something new for vegetarians?
They do. And that was one item that I put on my menu. And up here in the Northeast, there's very few of us who are really traditional barbecue joints. And
Sure.
I'm one of them. So I do take some heat. And I must admit, some people have their menus full of salads and everything else, and I don't. I'm just straight meat, and we have the cauliflower on there. We do have some apple pie baked beans if you want that.
Nice.
And then depending on the level, I mean, you heard Sanjay, he'll do mac and cheese. Some people won't because it's got the dairy in it. Right. We do have some cornbread, but that too does have some buttermilk into it. So it all depends on your level of vegetarianism, but I can pretty much, tell that.
I was so happy, by the way, when Ed gave me that 72-pound bag of food. There was not one green thing to be found.
No,
and the chili had no beans, being real chili. So I was very happy.
That's a Texas chili. So what we do is, anytime you're using a brisket, for those that know and do in the barbecue world, you'll get a 20-pound brisket, and by the time you're done trimming it, you're maybe down to 13 pounds. You have 7 pounds of either fat or part of the meat that won't cook or will burn up. So, then by the time it cooks, that 13 pounds is down to 8 or 9. So we lose 45 to 50% of our product before it even goes in front of a customer. But I hate giving stuff up and throwing stuff in the garbage. So we'll take the meat that's left and we grind it up and we make Texas chili out of it. We make all of our hot links in-house, our own sausages using that. We also do brisket burger Fridays, so we make burgers out of it. And then we take all the fat that's on the brisket, we render it down, and we'll run some of our deep fryers on it.
Apple pie. Okay, so I saw that on your website, and I can't wait to come up there in Newburgh and spend some time with you. The apple pie baked beans. You've taken sort of like 2 American favorites and combined them in one. I don't know if I've ever seen that. What do you do? How does that happen?
It's just as it sounds. We take some baked beans. We add some apple pie filling. We add a little bit of our rub and our barbecue sauce to it, and then let them sit on the smoker for a good hour or 2 hours, and let's let them work their thing. Sometimes, if we have the time on the weekends, we'll actually slide them underneath on the smoker underneath our ribs while they're cooking, so you'll get the pork drippings that go into it. Then they're out of this world even more. But the problem is they'll come back and be like, your beans taste different. We need it. And I was like, I just don't have that time to do all the beans underneath all of the ribs.
That sounds.
That, sir, is how you eat fruit. Okay, that's the acceptable way to eat fruit.
That's the way to do fruit.
I'm just saying.
That is the way to do it. Most interesting thing you've ever infused barbecue into, whether it's your sauce or any experiment you've ever done that you've either loved or maybe that's failed, but that's been fun.
Going back to that gentleman that we talked about, Bourbon BBQ festivals, Greg that runs them, he has me do. He has this thing called the Shrine of Swine, and he likes to do these big beast of bourbon stuff, and he makes all the stuff. So every year he comes up with a new challenge for me. So one year I literally had the FedEx guy come into my house, and he's like, I don't know what this is, but I don't want to know because it says it's coming from an alligator farm. So Greg actually had a couple gators sent up to me to practice smoking on them before I took them to the event. So we've done gators, octopus. I have had somebody one time ask me to do some tofu, which is probably the one thing that I see it, Matty. I was the same way, and they loved it. It's for me, it's whenever I serve anything, I always usually try it first, so I know if it tastes good to me, it'll taste good to you. That's the only thing I've never tried when I've ever cooked.
Wow.
We'll save the tofu for Sanj, all right?
Okay.
Sanj,
Absolutely.
I'm tapping out of that because I'm a generous soul.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
But I can't help it.
That's we really enjoy what Greg Nivens and the team do at the Beer, Bourbon, and Barbecue Festival. They do an amazing job as well. Of course, your Chopped, what you did, winning Chopped there, was incredible. Was there one of those? I mean, obviously, you're the champ. But which of those rounds was, as far as the basket you were handed, was the toughest, or was the most fun?
The second basket. The first basket was the toughest because it really. I'm not a classically trained chef, and I'm going up against three other chefs that are. I grew up here in the Hudson Valley. I learned how to cook from my Polish grandmother, my Italian mother. We had a farm, and I just learned how to cook from watching them cook for big meals for everybody. So it was really for me a lot of anxiety to say I'm here on stage. Yeah. I'm on television. It's not like I'm cooking at some barbecue competition in New Paltz, New York. I'm in the middle of Manhattan. I'm going to go on TV, and I don't want to look like a fool. So once that box opened up, and the first thing they just said to me was, it says like a yak ribeye. I didn't even hear the word yak. Once I heard ribeye, everything processed in my mind. All right, red meat, 125 degrees. We're just going to cook this thing medium rare and going to knock it out the park. So the most intimidating basket was probably my second one because we had, I think, I'm trying to think of an entire pork shoulder, I think, was in there. And, I have no problem cooking that, but I need 12 hours, not 30 minutes. So once I did it and I tried to go with my route and my recipe that I thought was going to work, when it became time to go to the judging, the guy next to me made even smaller portions to cook than I did because I had some really large chunks. And he made smaller portions, and they were just blasting them. And then it was the stuff that didn't even kind of make it on air, where they were like, this is just not good. You undercooked it. You don't understand the protein. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm next. I'm going to be smashed. And luckily, just understanding my proteins and how to cook things and cooking a lot of meat over the years, I worked out all right, and everything cooked right to temperature.
I've talked to and I know it's a great show. I love that show. I've talked to a number of chefs that have been on it and that have either won it or lost it. And it obviously it takes a whole day to film. It takes a lot longer, right? I mean, how long are you in there?
I got there at 5 a.m. and the fact that I made it to the end and all that, I left it. I was like 7:45, 8 o'clock at night. So you film everything, then they've got to go back through, and now you got to do the voiceover, and they're asking you the recipes. What'd you put into it? So now I'm watching the replay myself because I don't remember. You're in such a panic. You're grabbing garlic powder, onion powder, whatever you can find. I mean, I'm trying to find vinegar. I didn't even realize I grabbed rice wine vinegar, and they're like, "Is there a reason you grabbed the rice wine vinegar? Like, it's the only vinegar I could find."
You did you have a cocktail or any bourbon throughout the day? Because I would have needed it if I was cooking.
My last round, I did a maple bourbon whipped cream. So I put it in there, and I was making the bourbon whipped cream. All of a sudden, I poured a shot for myself and my butt, and the guy next to me, the last competitor, because in the barbecue world, we do on a competition scene. There's the 922 shot. 922 is the day of the event. Everybody gets together and you do a shot. There's a lot of mystery of why it's 922. I don't know who came up with it. It's just one of those traditions. It's like, St. Patty's Day. It's on the 17th every year. Well, guess what? At 922 every year, we're doing at the competition. We're doing a shot. So I poured one for he and I, and that kind of was just saying, good luck, buddy. Whoever wins kind of wins.
You weren't like trying to get him drunk so he wouldn't know what he was doing. Where you're like, here's your third shot. I mean, that would have been a good strategy.
These are exactly the reasons why I like Tom.
Yeah.
You already have the trust. Tom,
this is what I would do, Matty.
This guy. I trust him.
Tom, I'm not sure he saw my name. It says Handsome Devil, not Dumb Devil.
All right. So what I've always wondered about the show, and obviously, I mean, I know there's so much effort that's put into it. It takes a lot of time. Is it seems like every single round, as it's like the 10, 9, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, people are still plating it. And I often wonder, like, all respect, you know, I mean, I've done some video editing myself. Are they just editing it to look like it just nearly didn't happen? Or is it true that sometimes it just nearly doesn't happen?
No, it does, man. If you watch my episode, that was that guy. I was that guy with like a minute left to go. I didn't have plates yet on my first round, so I threw some tacos, like some tacos on the tortillas on the grill just to get hot. And I ran to grab my plates, and I came back, and they were annihilated, burnt. So I said, screw it, I'm using the wrong ones. I put everything together, and then literally go to the judge, and the judge is just like, well, what happened to your tacos? Did they burn? I was like, you saw the same thing I saw. Yeah, they burned. I was under the gun here. What do you think happened?
So it's not just the drama of the post production. It really almost doesn't happen sometimes.
Oh, it doesn't. And I mean, a funny story that you really didn't see on mine is I'm a barbecue guy, right? So I need everything in my life is about smoke. You know, whether it's one of my little shady crowns here or it's barbecue. I need a fire. So I set my grill top on fire on purpose so I could cook. My pork had that smoke flavor and all that. And then the fire got out of control. And all of a sudden they were like, all right, everybody stop. And then, the round came to an end and the fire's still roaring on my grill top behind me. And I've dealt with fires. I can put the fire out. I know what I've got to do here. And now they're starting to panic. So they asked the guy to throw some salt on it. And the only salt I had was like the really thick stuff. So he throws it on there, and I just hear the things going off like pop rocks behind me. And I'm dying laughing because I feel them hitting me in the back of the head. They're hitting all over there. So finally, the guy had to come over with the extinguisher and hose down my whole grill top.
Wow.
But it was funny. I was like, I was hoping that would make the episode, but that it didn't.
It's a great episode. Definitely take a look at it. It's only from 2 years ago. This is 2019, right?
Yep.
Ed Randolph, he's a Chopped champion, Pitmaster, and we're talking about his time on Chopped and all that he does at Handsome Devil BBQ there in New York. And if you're watching this live or even later, please take a moment, share this, retweet all those great things. When you like and share it both, you get a chance to win that wonderful bourbon barrel-aged coffee from Janice Coffee Roasters. Definitely check them out. We'll have that drawing here in just a little while. And if you love bourbon and coffee both, check out BourbonBlog.com/coffee for our bourbon expression with Janice Coffee Roasters. Do you ever? I know that there's some barbecue people, chefs, pitmasters. Sometimes will actually put some coffee into rubs. Or do you do that? Have you ever done that?
Absolutely do. We'd like to try to do every now and then. We'll do a special of a West Coast tri-tip. So the West Coast tri-tip is great because we fire it right over our Santa Maria grill inside our restaurant, and we use one of our espresso rubs. So we'll take our base rub, add some nice espresso ground up in there, and it adds such a deep, rich flavor to it. It's really great.
Nice. Does your team or anybody that is around you with food ever just try to re-chop you and see if you can put together something? Because since you won, are they like, okay, here's this, see what you can do? Do you get that often? Does it ever?
It usually doesn't happen often, like people asking for it. It's just literally, there'll be times that if we're at a barbecue competition or even working the pits late at night, we're around the food all day long. Last thing you want to do is another brisket sandwich at 2 a.m, right? So you just go in the kitchen and you guys just start working stuff up, and it's you never know. And some stuff all of a sudden hits it, and that's a recipe that you're like, I didn't expect this to happen. And next thing you know, it's something they're going to put on the menu. So it could be anything. I'm notorious for knowing to have my bourbon cookies at probably 2, 3 in the morning. So most kids dunk their cookies in milk. I always try to find a nice bourbon, and I was like, you know what? Around the holidays and all the pumpkin stuff comes out, those little pumpkin munchkins, put that in a little bourbon and they try it. They're top dollar.
All right, Matty, let's try a virtual chop. I don't think we've ever thought of trying something like this, Matty, but let's you and I come up with a couple of ingredients and just virtually tell Ed and see what he would do just in his mind. He doesn't actually have to perform it.
I'm going to throw in that he knows if Carl was here just to piss Ed off, but I'll laugh. Ha ha. Hey, cuz, let's throw in some hot dogs.
Yeah.
All right, so Ed, you get to virtually pick your protein. Matty, is your ingredient hot dogs?
It has to be, because Ed knows what Carl would demand of it right now if he heard it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have hot dogs. I'm just going to say, just because I'm drinking it, coincidentally, I'll just say this. I'm pairing tonight's conversation with a single barrel. I just got it peerless. This actually has notes of savory barbecue in it. So it doesn't actually have barbecue in it, but it's called smoked sassafras. They picked this barrel out because it has that smoked sassafras note. So I'm going to say rye whiskey, hot dogs. Matty, pick another ingredient.
I don't know. I just see Ed staring at me now, like you're already making it difficult to pass.
No.
You and I should be doing this professionally, chopping people. Go ahead, Matty. What's your other ingredient?
I'm thinking. Remember, you don't have to see Ed. I'm going to see Ed in 2 weeks, and it's going to get
Okay.
me
All right.
it's going to get me in the knee and the balls.
Yeah.
So I think you should go for it, Tom. You have less danger. But to make you laugh, since we're talking barbecue, can you see the name?
Oh, nice.
Ooh, pork. Is that going to be his protein that he's going to have to work with virtually?
A pork belly? Yeah, that would be a douchey move to put a cigar in his meal. That would get a knee to the balls. But
No, but his protein will be pork belly. It'll be pork belly.
the cigar
hot
says it all.
dogs.
I know that'll make Ed happy. So yeah, we'll go
Okay.
pork belly.
Pork belly, hot dogs, whiskey. There you go. And you can add anything else that you want to from the Chomp Kitchen. What would you do with that?
I'd probably try to make some pork belly burnt ends. Keep them up. Use the bourbon either as a sauce or as a marinade in there. The sauce would be great. The hot dogs would be the tough part. So I might have to try to actually dice them up really small and actually candy them up. I wouldn't bother to use some of the brown sugar and use some of the whiskey and just kind of use those as I'd like to call them my meat croutons. So we'll make a little pork belly salad and then use some little hot dog croutons on there.
Hot dog croutons?
Yeah.
I'm writing that.
How do you-
that
how would
down
you
right
do
now. Sir, what did you say you'd like with your salad?
Yeah,
Hot dog
hot dog
crouton. Do I
croutons.
need to repeat myself? Jesus.
Like anything else, you just dice it up really small, cube it up, and almost just kind of pan fry it. A little brown sugar, some of the bourbon, or you add a little rendering in there, a little lard or something like that, and just candy them up.
All right, so hot dog croutons. You got the pork belly. You got the sauce for the whiskey. What are you going to put in that sauce besides whiskey?
Usually our sauce is always going to be started, so you'll have a little bit of a ketchup base on there. You'll have some molasses in it, some seasonings. Whatever I can find. Dash of Worcestershire to add a little umami flavor to it. It's usually pretty good.
All right, I think you've done it. There's your virtual Chopped.
Ouch.
Have you ever made hot dog croutons? Is that
I have not. Now that you mentioned, I'm thinking about it, man. Instead of like the little bacon bits or chorizos that you get sometimes on somewhere, try to chop up.
Never thought after saying hot dog and croutons, the hashtag would be "You're welcome."
Yeah,
there it is. Who knows what we might.
You heard it here first on
Right?
Cigar Saturday at BourbonBlog.com. Hot dog croutons. Remember when you heard it.
All right, Ed, when I come join you and Matty there in New York, we may have to do a little video where we make hot dog croutons. I'll just provide the whiskey and watch it, but hopefully it'll be some good inspiration. It'll be a good recipe. That could be an amazing. I mean, you said you stay away from the salads. You said, right?
Yeah, I'm not a big salad guy. Although my wife's on me all the time to start eating some more salads.
This could become the new Handsome Devil salad, hot dog barbecue croutons.
That is it. Yeah, people always ask me what my soup of the day is. And I come in, like, you guys have soup? I said, yes. We have bourbon with iced croutons. That's our service today.
Amazing. We virtually chopped you. I like it. I like it. So no, this is amazing. It's so good to have you. If anybody has any barbecue questions, feel free to ask. Again, he shares a lot of his recipes that he does right there at Handsome Devil in his book. You can get that book on Handsome Devil LLC.com. Okay, so there's obviously going to be some secret you don't tell. What's the secret you won't tell? What are going to be the things that are like your very famous secret?
With my particular cooker, there is a certain timeline and time and temperature, how it kind of stages up. So I can tell you we do something every couple hours, but I might not give you the exact degrees we do. Frankly, I don't care. There's nothing. You want to come, if you're going to come do the overnight cook with us and spend the time with me to learn how to cook, you're going to get all the tricks in our bags. It's not like we're going to make 20 briskets and then as soon as you leave, I'm throwing them in a dumpster and going to serve something else. So it's taken a lot of time and a lot of effort for me to get to where we have it, and I have no problem sharing it because you know what, I got a 1,000-gallon mill scale smoker in my shop. So if you have one of those at your house, knock yourself out. But each cooker cooks differently. They're like anything else. It acts differently, behaves differently. The weather makes stuff act differently. But the guys at mill scale have been great and helping me out and fine tuning what I want for my finished product. And we found a timeline that works for us and a good cooking process.
You're doing great work. Obviously, as things are opening up more and more, restaurant world You want to talk about that a little bit post-COVID? It's your own place and also nationally?
Yeah, we had the pleasure of actually opening up just this last November our storefront. So I've had a couple of places that we leased, and the past 3 or 4 years, I really wanted to have a home, wanted a place for us. So we went through 7 different locations, trying to acquire a building. Something as simple as you and I, as we are here talking, I'm across the table from a gentleman. He gets a phone call, says, "Sorry, my buddy wants to buy the building." He just gets up and walks away as we're signing the contracts. So we finally found this home. We closed on it last April, right when the world all of a sudden came to an end. And as everybody was telling me, don't do it, we went through and did it anyway. And I don't know if I would want to open any other time because it was great. It really was. We did some fundraisers for the frontline families, and we did right out of our parking lot. We were giving out meals. But the thing that was really important to me, and it was great, was there's 5 or 6 small trade businesses that maybe wouldn't be working during this time, from our GC to electrician, plumbers, HVAC, the guy hooking up the camera system, that we were able to give them a job during the COVID and then help put some money in their pocket to feed their families. And they all went above and beyond to the point where when we were getting ready to open, the pressure wasn't so much, are we going to do good? My pressure was, I can't let these guys down, because they went out of their way. My concrete guy went out of his way. My GC did so much stuff that he didn't charge me for that, to this day, every time he comes in, I give him free brisket. Here you go. And he's like, I'm paying for it. I'm like, you don't understand what you saved me. And when our doors opened, it was like a breath of fresh air, because everybody was looking so negatively at this whole COVID and everything being shut down that they just needed a place, even if it was to come to get takeout. That's when we first opened up. Takeout really wasn't a revenue stream that we were looking as being dominant, but it had to be, because now all of a sudden no one can come to your place. So you need to make sure your food is good, it's ready to be packaged, and it can be sent out in a timely manner so people aren't waiting. And that was important.
Man, right? We Tom and I have been talking about that for 58 episodes.
Yeah.
And some people were scared to go out. I'm like, look, if you're not going back out there, the community you remember will no longer be there anymore. So the things that made your community just that are gone. So I said, be smart, be responsible, do the things you're supposed to do. And I said, don't hide. I'm like, all of us now more than ever really do need each other. So, hats off to you guys.
Absolutely.
And everybody in the business, because they were out there providing for us. Certain people tried to go back there and provide for their local establishments. And like I said, with so many bad things that went on, you really learned about the beauty of community, the beauty of togetherness and camaraderie. So for all the negative and terrible shit that all of us went through, we got through it. We had to get through it together. Mm-hmm. And I think the beauty of now that all of us see the light at the end of the tunnel, people are going to remember that people like Ed were out there cooking for people and feeding people. And all of us want to get back out there. And I guess that's kind of a segue to the next thing I'm going to talk about is everybody, when we bring people on that we bring our food people on, like, remember now, before it gets busy, if you want somebody like Ed to be doing a party or a catering event for you, don't wait, because people are really looking to get back out there to do events, to enjoy life again. And the same goes for Tom too. Tom, much like me, who'd been on the road for 120 days, 150 days a year. We did it here. We did it virtually. So now you're going to have to, get back out there. And when you're ready, Tom's going to be out there doing events again. Ed's going to be all over the country doing events. So lock that in, think about it, start shooting out mails. Everybody on here, make sure, Ed, you give them your Instagram and where they could reach you at Handsome Devil. And folks, we know how to reach myself and Tom now. So like I said, we're getting there. The light's definitely at the end of the tunnel. And we're getting really, really close. On our end, we opened up 3 out of the 5 barn smokers that I hope to see you 2 fine gents as guests at.
Nice.
So we're getting there. We're getting there. We made it together as a community. And now, instead of doing it here virtually, we get to share the experiences once again on a personal level, which I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, Ed, the best way to find you is what? Which web? Is it the website?
The website, Handsome Devil LLC, but all of our social media is on Instagram. So it's Handsome Devil LLC on Instagram, and I want to say on Facebook it's Handsome Devil BBQ, because there was an attorney who took the Handsome Devil LLC Facebook page, I guess.
Really, the attorney took Handsome Devil.
Yeah, he had that. He actually had handsomedevil.com. So when I had to get it, I had to start the company up and do the LLC.com because it wasn't. And then I don't know if he just bought the name or what he was doing, but at that time when I started the business,
countersuit. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So does he call himself like the Handsome Devil attorney, or have you ever talked to this guy?
I have not talked to him. I don't know if he just owns the IP, address, bought the name, and trying to sell it. But I did reach out in the beginning, and then I kind of did my research on it from the whois.com and ipchicken.com, whoever, so you can find out who these people are, and then I'll find out. I was like, this guy's an attorney, so I just don't know if he bought the name as an investment or if he's actually promoting himself.
What if the interesting thing would be is if he actually is not a very good looking man and actually doesn't like barbecue? That would be very interesting.
Well, people say the same thing to me when they see me. They're like, I hope you have a partner. It's like
what I enjoyed the most about this is they would say that I would be the instigator and not Tom. Tom's the one who's ready for war. Look, he's poking you. It's like, what are you going to do about this, Ed? I say,
we're going to get this guy.
Yeah.
now your story's great, though. You told me before we went live. Tell me how the
Wow, I guess the lawyer came from already.
That's it. I mean, that doesn't take much, huh?
That was fairly expeditious. And now, hi, Handsome Devil lawyer. I promise I'll use your services. Wink, wink, nod, nod. He already cut off Tom's feed.
Yeah. I'm back. Something happened
Tom,
there. I think he was.
You fast.
I think that attorney was watching. All that hacking
was done expeditiously. Holy shit.
Matty, we know how that can be. All right, so. Tell the story. How did Handsome Devil come about?
Prior to launching the barbecue joint and the barbecue kind of team, I was working for a architectural firm in New York City. I was the CFO and COO, and every day where I live, it's about a 2-hour commute into the city. So I'd leave the house around 5 o'clock in the morning. And at that time, my oldest daughter, Lily, got up one morning from the top of the stairs, and she said, "Daddy, have a good day at work. You're a handsome devil." And I was like, oh, my Lord, she just named the company because, you know what, there's no Smiling Bob, Happy Pig. Everybody on our team, either we have, we're peers, tattoos, we got hot rods, we got everything. So we needed something that was an aggressive name that, as I say, is confident bordering on cocky.
And then daughter is in 10%, and she accepts crypto technology. She already sent the contract.
How old was she when she said that?
She was 5.
Oh, man, what a great story. Yeah. What a cool story. Again, it is the Handsome Devil BBQ. Make sure you check out Ed everywhere. And just take another quick moment to like, share, retweet this. Hey, I know I know you love your own barbecue. We love what you do too.
Yeah.
What's the best outside of your own? What's the best barbecue experience you've ever had?
Well, here again, quoting our boy Carey Bringle, we talked about earlier, right? Yeah. You don't have to hate somebody else's barbecue to like mine. There's more than enough love to go all the way around.
Right.
I'll tell you, I have locally. I love going to Pig Beach. Matt Abdu and Shane are doing some great stuff there. Billy Durney's place in Brooklyn's great. Whenever I go out to Texas, my must stops. There's usually Valentina's Tex-Mex, great tacos, phenomenal. Truth Barbecue. Leonard does from a meal from start to finish. He was really our inspiration for our own barbecue joint because when I went to Truth, everything from having the meat, the sides to the dessert, everything you ate, you were like, man, I shouldn't have ordered the other thing. I should have just ordered this. And everything's made in-house. And that's 100% everything that we do, from the desserts, the appetizers, everything is, and it's all family driven, just how we are. So it was really great stuff. You hit some of the regulars. When I go out on the West Coast, Slab in Los Angeles is phenomenal. Adam Perry Lang makes some really good stuff out there. You also have Mac City. Daniel Weinstein's doing some great stuff. Or Maple Block is his Maple Block is another great one. So we travel. We go all the way around. You're down in the Carolinas. You're gonna go get some whole hog at St. John's. You're gonna go over to Asheville. You're gonna visit Elliott Moss and get some Buxton Hall. And who can say anything but the dry rub ribs that Carey Bringle puts out at Nashville and peg leg porker. I mean, they're unbelievable.
And his bourbon's good too. And hopefully you'll have plenty of that next week. Quite often, obviously, we love the meat. We love the sauce. Sides are sometimes where it's like, wow, I go to this barbecue joint because we like the barbecue pretty good, but the sides are where it's at. Is there a particular side that when you go to another establishment that you're like, hey, it takes a lot to really nail an interesting potato salad or mac and cheese? I mean, for me, it's like, I really want to see an interesting potato salad. What else can you do with it? Is there one that you really look at a little bit more critically when you're going to another establishment?
Collard greens. Collard greens, I think, are something that you don't realize the amount of time, attention to make these things to work. I mean, it's a 4 or 5 hour cook process for hours. You want to keep the color. You don't want them to get wilted. You want to do it. So, it's something that you can see very easy. That there's an easy way out by just throwing them in the pot and letting them rip for 4 hours and not paying any attention to them. Or there's something that literally takes 4 hour process. I got one guy that will do, collard greens at night. He comes in and he's part of the night shift with me, and he'll do collard greens for 4 or 6 hours. That's the only thing he's working on, just because it is a love, and it's just like anything else. You wouldn't think a side dish would be, but it is, and it's an all in-house recipe that we came up with, and my wife Noelle nailed it. And as soon as I tried it, I was like, this is going to be it. And she's like, of course, it's the most labor intensive one, so I'm going to pick that one.
So when they come and have your collard greens with the pork shoulder,
yes,
at Handsome Devil, that takes some real time and energy to put together.
It does, and I'm really proud of them. It's something I eat pretty much all the time, and that's probably as close as I'm going to get to my salad at the restaurant.
It's closer than I'll get. His favorite. Yeah. I'm going for that chili, man.
Yeah, that's
perfect.
Oh, it sounds.
This chili, Tom, when you're down here, the perfect amount of heat, everything. Like I said, real Texas chili, no beans. So he's gone out of his way to remove any elemental trace of vegetables, which I'm a total fan of.
We're rocking a green chili pork chili right now. So it's that we serve it over top of some Fritos. So nice little corn chips on the bottom. Put a little pork chili on top of it. It's pretty good.
There's your vegetable, the corn, and the corn chips. But yeah, that's about right for my dietary needs. Yeah, we're in. I'm vested.
We're making so many people hungry. They're all saying below. I also see you got some great. You got your Sazeracs. You got some smoky margaritas. Even a Reposado old fashioned.
Yeah.
At your establishment, what's one of your favorite cocktails?
The Blackberry Smash is one of my favorites there. So really with our restaurant, I wanted to go through, craft beers are great. They're everywhere. In our area up here in the Northeast, they've exploded. And it would be very easy for me to put 25 taps on the wall and just rail it and to be a beer bar. But I really figured that a lot of people don't understand the goodness of the brown water, as we like to call it, from your bourbons to your mezcals. So we really wanted to be something different and offer a really wide variety that you wouldn't expect. You go to a barbecue joint, and now, there's, the Whistle Pig 15 years up there, or you have a Booker's on there, and people don't know what it is. Because a lot of times, you get a customer come in, and they're like, well, just give me a shot of Jim Beam, or give me a shot of Jack. And you know what? For a couple dollars more, let's introduce them to something easy like the Basil Hayden's or the Michter's, something that they can just enjoy and increase their flavor profile to grow from there. And the same thing with the tequilas. Now we have some tequilas, we have some mezcals, and you really start to expand the profile that you work them right up the line from Casamigos up to Clase Azul.
Yeah. Oh, I love. You must be a mezcal fan too, right?
Yeah. We have our friends hooked us up with the new Clase Azul Guerrero mezcal. That's
Clase Azul is
a keeper.
Oh, good. Do you have a particular barbecue you would like to pair with mezcal, or a cocktail you do with mezcal?
With the mezcal, I think they work on it's a honey and smoke using the mezcal on there. So it's almost like the honey helps kind of take a little bit of the smokiness out of it. Really good. I've got a couple good bartenders. My bar manager, Veronica, she rocks and makes up some great drinks for us that I'll just see them on the special, and I'll come out and I'll see people walking around the restaurant and drinking it. And now I'm like, what is that? That looks good. Can I get one? Meanwhile, she, I'm holding a Tecate in one hand and a Shiner in the other. And I'm like, I need to try something else out.
What do you do I see a smoky margarita. How do you make that?
Yeah. Same thing. That I would have to actually look for the recipe on it, because I haven't made the drink in a long time. So that came up, and Veronica does it, but it's using some smoke. She actually does a little smoking machine there, and it gets the margarita looking top dollar for us. We actually use the new habanero, and I don't even have a bottle of it here, but we have a new jalapeno tequila coming out.
This all sounds so good. Well, Ed, it's so good to have you here on Cigar Saturday. Can't wait to get up there. We'll definitely do something together, whiskey and cigar wise and barbecue wise. I'll pair in those three. Different cigar and whiskey for each course, some different barbecue for each course. I can't wait, man.
We'll do that. We'll get our boy Tank to bring a hog up there, with the little whole hog picking on the patio.
Yes,
it's a good thing, man. We're doing an event at the end of the month down there in Texas at Treaty Oak, where the guys smoking mash. So we'll be doing some bourbon, some cigars, and we'll
I'll have to give you
guys
sticks for Tank. So
we'll
get some sticks.
That'd be good.
Some sticks too.
I love the treaty, and I know those guys too. When's that going to be?
That's May 29th. So Robert Lerma is setting that up down there at Treaty Oak. I got 2 other bottles here as a member of the Smoke and Mash Club.
It's great stuff.
So it's really, really good. So we're doing that.
So good. I've been to the distillery. It's actually going to be at the distillery.
At the distillery that day.
Oh,
so you have a lot of pitmasters coming in from around the U.S. going to be there. I'm happy to say I'll be there. You're going to have Big Mo coming in there, Tuffy Stone, Jean Paul, Sam Jones will be there. So it's going to be kind of a day to be high on the hog, and enjoying that day. And then later in the year, locally, we have a great event that I already think is sold out, but our buddy Charlie does a cigar barbecue up at West Point and it's a fundraiser for the cadets. Those, some of the warriors who don't make it back home, for their families and stuff. And it's a day that we make.
That's our buddy Charlie Bernard. So
Charlie Bernard, yeah, Charlie's great, man. He introduced
Charlie
me
for.
I have to put Charlie on
the
payroll.
Best guy, and he has other barbecues up there. And yeah, man, that's somebody else we should have on the show too, because his service for what he's done for all the wounded vets and everything. Tom's a real big deal. Unfortunately, I have something coinciding on that date. I've gone to quite a few of those over the years. We've all met up over there. And Charlie, if you're listening out there tonight, I think I need to have you on the show, give you a nod for all that you've done for wounded warriors, and we love you and respect you for it. Thank you, brother.
He's such a great guy in the community. It's unbelievable. And then it was a couple of years ago, I was asked to help out to cook for him because they needed a little bit more firepower, and we have the equipment to do it. And literally the first time I met the guy, it feels like you've known him for 10 years, and it's great. And his energy level is higher than probably I think I can run, and I've got ambition. And I was like, you know what? I'd pull 20-hour days. I can do it, no problem. This guy hustles, man. He's a mover. He helped me out, even got me to with Matty and all that in the beginning. And then even on my wife's team that she's going to do Memphis in May, he introduced us to the Alec Bradley folks. And they came on board to kind of help her team out and was able to do stuff to the point where, we went down and visited their operations in Fort Lauderdale and like everything else. It's just more family, more community, everybody trying to keep everybody working together and getting us through this whole COVID situation and moving on.
Well, we appreciate everything you and your team have done during all this, Ed. A lot of talent there at Handsome Devil BBQ. Make sure you check out handsomedevillllc.com. Get one of his books. Go by and visit him when you're near him, and hopefully we'll be seeing you. I have a feeling we'll be seeing you at some events coming up, Ed. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, man, we're rocking. Everybody enjoy, man. As I say, live, love, eat barbecue.
That's right. That's right.
That's a slogan to live by.
Say that once again. Live, love, and eat barbecue.
You got it, man. Live, love, eat barbecue.
That's my kind of slogan. So
I need
lot
that
of people
shirt immediately. Go steal that right now.
A lot of people shared and retweeted this tonight. Ed, pick a number between 1 and 44.
13.
All right, lucky number 13. That bag of bourbon coffee goes to Brian Toner. Brian, thanks for sharing that video. We appreciate it.
Cool, Brian.
Make sure you drop me a line with your info so we get that coffee out to you. And this video will be up permanently wherever you're watching it, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, also our podcast right there, anchor.fm/BourbonBlog. Matty, man, I don't think any episode will make me hungry like this one has. Who's coming next week to the show?
Next week, we will be introducing media mogul, Mr. Paul Rosenberg. So you can't talk about Eminem without talking about Paul Rosenberg. So that'll be a good show. He's a fellow bourbon smoker and cigar smoker. So it'll be a lot of fun. Great dude. Looking forward to it. Ed, thanks so much for coming on.
Yes,
we appreciate you. Much love,
all mine, man. And if we can, Tom, I'd like to get that winner who just won the coffee, man. Send me his name and address. I'll shoot him. I'll dirty up a book and send one of our books right out to him.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Very nice.
Man. Appreciate it, man.
We appreciate you, and thanks all for watching.
If I did that, I would have cheated. It would have been me.
I didn't know you could read, man.
Next time, I now know I did.
He's going to learn.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a lot of pictures in it for you, man.
Who's Rother Sothersby? I'd be like, or just send it out. It looks suspiciously like your address, Matty. Like, no, there's people who live there. No,
yeah,
never heard of them.
Hey, thanks so much, Ed. Thanks all for watching. Until next week, cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Much love, everyone. Peace out.